Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel. This is the start of my November vlog, and I'm going into November with a little bit of mixed feelings. First of all, if you've been watching my vlog, I just finished my 6-month sabbatical. So starting in November, I will kind of go back to work. I don't have an actual job. I do have a grant for my research, so basically, I'll just be sitting at my desk doing research. But yeah, after like 6 months of like just doing whatever I wanted, this is going to be a bit of a change, but more of a soft change. But that will definitely impact my reading time as well. And we'll just see. We'll see how it goes. Now, the second thing is that when I started my sabbatical and I did a video about my TBR, my physical TBR at that point, this is what I said. I make a promise now that I might regret very soon. And that promise is that if I do not reach a 0 TBR by the end of my sabbatical, I will do an I read every book on my TBR at once series. And so I'm going to stand by that, and we are going to do a Every Book All at Once Kitty Edition. Now, I do have to shout out my friend Cleo from the channel Bemuse Bookworm because she did this last year, so I'm totally stealing her idea. Let's just say that for us viewers, this was a very fun time. I don't know how Cleo felt about it the most of the time, but yeah, I promised and I will deliver. However, I'm doing it a little bit different. This is going to be a kiddie edition, so I will talk about that in a second. However, I don't want to start this project right this moment because I still want to finish one more book before we go into that. I'm currently 50 pages into The God of Lost Words, and because I'm reading this for a specific vlog, I just want to finish this off first. Now, I do have 300 pages to go in this one, so I should be able to do that by tomorrow, I think. I will give my very best to finish this book tomorrow, and then we will go into the whole like every book all at once shebang. Now, for my audiobooks will not be part of the challenge. I'm currently listening to The Heart Forger. This is book 2 in the Bone Witch series. I am pretty much halfway through with that one, 55% in. I'm really enjoying it. I am having a good time with that whole series, and I'm doing a complete series reading vlog for that one as well as this series. So those will be out soon, and then you can hear all of my thoughts on these books. I don't want to like repeat myself over and over again. But those are the 2 books I will focus on for now. But I already wanted to give you a bit of an introduction into the Every Book All at Once scheme. So the idea obviously is to kind of read all the books that are on your TBR at the same time. And for me, that sounds like very daunting. I definitely don't want to start all of my books at the same time. So the idea I came up with is that we will have a wheel. I had a lot of fun with the wheel this year, like in the last couple of months. The wheel has definitely helped me read some of my TBR books, so I hope this will work out well. So the basic idea is that I have all of my books on the wheel. However, every slice of the wheel represents about 100 pages in the book. So when I spin the wheel, it lands on a book, and it doesn't mean that I will read the complete book. It means I will read about 100 pages of this book. With this idea, obviously, at first we do have a higher chance of getting the books that are longer because they have more slices on the wheel, and then it should even out as we get more and more into it. So this is a bit of a chance thing. I might get lucky and get like the same book multiple times in a row, so I can actually make progress in the book, but I also could get completely unlucky so that in the end I would have started all of the books and read like 100 pages in each one. So there is room for chaos here, but I just wanted to give myself a sliver of hope that I don't actually have to read all the books at once. We'll see how that goes. The whole idea about this is that I want to read all of my pre-2025 TBR by the end of the year. So I'm setting myself the goal to finish this whole thing at the end of December. With the page count that I have on the wheel, that is very unrealistic. So we will get there when we get there. I really hope that because the wheel spins are fun, this will just keep me reading at a higher pace than I normally would. But obviously with me going back to work as well, I have no idea how it will go. I don't know. So the goal is to finish reading this book this weekend, and then on Sunday we will do the first wheel spin and we'll see which book we can start first. I hope this made sense. I don't know if it did. I also don't know how that will kind of change my vlog format, because yeah, we might have chaos. And I hope you're here for it. And so, yeah, I'll see you soon with my review of the book and the first wheel spins. So today is the 3rd of November, and with that we have reached my first day back at work, which is crazy. But before we get into all of that, I did finish my book last night. I stayed up a little bit late so I could finish The God of Lost Words, and this book is finally done. This feels like such a big achievement because it has been on my TBR for the longest time. And I'm glad to say that I did really enjoy this. Similar to the second book in the series, I think in my feelings this is more of a 4.25 star read, but I rounded it up to 4.5 because I did cry a lot at the end. I think the ending, it was a lot. It was so much. However, I wouldn't say that this delivered everything I was hoping for that series. So it's a little bit of a mixed bag. Like, it made me feel a lot of things, but it did not give me the scenes I was hoping for. And so with that, I have finished another series. That's also very great. And now it is time for our first wheel spin and for the chaos to begin.
Okay, so let me quickly introduce you to the wheel. As you can see, we do have quite a bit on there. I don't have all of the books on there yet because I have some books that I consider my December TBR that I will add in later on. And right now it's like all sorted. So the first thing we're going to do is shuffle. Okay, and now we're ready to spin the wheel.
So the wheel gave us one of the shorter books that I still have on my TBR. This is The Women's History of the Modern World. Now, this one has 4 parts, and these 4 parts are all about 100 pages long. So I think what I will do is I will read those parts whenever one comes up. So that means in total, we would need to get this one 4 times from the wheel to actually be able to finish it. So for now, I am going to read the first part of this, and then we will see where the rest of the chaos takes us. So this is a nonfiction book, which I think would work probably well with this whole like not reading the whole book in one go. Let's hope it works well. So today is the 6th of November and I do have a very big update for you. This might get a little bit chaotic, but we'll just try our best. So first of all, I wanted to mention that I have finished a book, which is great. I finished my audiobook of The Heart Forger. This is book 2 in the Bone Witch series, and this one was really, really good. Like, it actually made me cry multiple times, especially the ending. The ending was so sad, and I think that this is a YA series, but it really isn't afraid to go there, and I absolutely love that. I think it is definitely for like older YA range. It has a lot of violence, it has a death of lovely characters, and it also doesn't shy away from portraying the relationships as not only romantic but also sexual, even though you don't see any of it, but it is implied and you know kind of what's going on with that. So yeah, it definitely is a book that I think would have a very wide appeal in the fantasy genre, and I gave the second book 4.5 stars. It really wrenched my heart. It was a lot. So I immediately decided to go into the third book, The Shadow Glass. Did I just mix that up? I don't know. Second book is Heart Forger. Third book is Shadow Glass. So we're going into that one now. And yeah, when I finish that, we will have another series reading vlog completed. So that's great. And now we have to talk about the wheel spins. So first of all, I had spun for the Women's History of the Modern World, and I read the first part of this one. It has 4 parts and each one is around 100 pages. Really, really enjoyed it. This one has a great writing style. It doesn't read dry at all. It fluidly moves between like different countries and different women and tells their story. We're starting out around the time of the French Revolution as well as the War of the Independence in the US. So yeah, I'm really, really enjoying this one. There were definitely women in here mentioned that I hadn't read about before, and I have read quite a few of these books that like go into the history of or the historical impact of certain women. So far I'm really, really liking this one, and I am intrigued to continue reading this as soon as the wheel allows. So now it's time for the next spin. And this one is a little bit funny because the author of this was actually mentioned in the Women's History because he did not think women deserved any rights. So complete opposite now, but it gave me The 100 Days of Sodom by Marquis de Sade. This is currently the oldest book on my TBR that I still haven't read. I honestly have lost a lot of my interest in this. I did like Justine by the author, but then I read 2 more of the books and I didn't really love them. So this one is like super big, and yeah, I don't know. But we're going to give this a try. Now, I have already read the first 100 pages in this one, and it was a lot of info dumping. Like, the first 80 some pages of this is literally just telling you about the different people in this scenario and the places, and it's just very, very info dumpy. Like, the beginning of this was so dry and boring. So yeah, I don't have like the highest hopes going forward. Now, the basic setup for this is that we have 4 absolutely disgusting rich men who shut themselves in a castle with a lot of like other people who are there to please them for months, and they have these like women who are supposed to tell kind of like dirty stories. That's kind of it. So let's do the next spin. So again, the wheel chose a book that I have like not very high hopes for. We'll see about it. This one is The Secret Years by Judith Lennox. I have read one Judith Lennox book before and it was just fine. This is the kind of historical fiction that rarely works for me, where it's like very romance heavy and it's a lot of like drama, mixed feelings. But this one is set mainly in the 1920s, if I believe the back of it, so we'll see how it goes. In the beginning of this one, we follow a girl called Thomasine. I don't know how to pronounce that name. And she she lived in a colony in Africa, but her parents pass away, so she's sent back to her aunts in the UK. And she grows up in this small village where she befriends two boys, one of the son of the smith and the other one is the son of the nobility of this area. And then there is one fateful day where everything goes to shambles, and that kind of sets off the lives of these three people that we're mainly following. And then First World War. So that's basically where I'm at with that one now. We have just kind of finished the first, or just jumped over the First World War really, and now the characters are dealing with the aftermath. And since I also finished that yesterday, let's do another spin. And this time I am very excited because we are starting my reread of Carry On. Now, I love this book. I read it when it came out, immediately fell in love with it, and I have reread it since, and I'm still loving it. So we're doing it again in preparation for the final book in the series. And yeah, in this one we follow a boy called Simon who has kind of been told that he's like this super big magician. He is so powerful, and so he's set up against this dark magic thing called the Conundrum. And yeah, it's kind of a parody of Harry Potter, but it's so much more. It's queer, it's gay, it kind of has the dynamic, it is inspired, I would say, by the dynamic of Harry and Malfoy, and I love that. Simon and Baz are so cute together. Baz, the roommate of Simon, is also a vampire, so yeah, it's just shenanigans, but it makes me so happy. So far I'm 20 pages into this one, and we'll see. I'm pretty sure that I will finish the first 100 pages of this later tonight. I'm very excited. So far we have started 4 out of the 8 options we have for our current books. And that means we are halfway into reading them all at the same time. Which is okay, we'll see, but I wouldn't be mad if the next wheel spin maybe would give me a book to continue instead of the next book to start. So fingers crossed for that. I'll keep you updated. So today is the 9th of November, and with that I want to do a quick little update because I did some reading the last few days. So I read my first 100 pages of my reread in Carry On, which was so lovely. Now, I don't really remember what I said in my last update, so just a quick recap. This is a book where we follow Simon, and he is kind of the chosen one, but he's like really bad at it. He has a roommate who's a vampire called Baz, and they're kind of like enemies. And then he has a best friend called Penny. Penelope, and she's like kind of a know-it-all. She's like very smart and talented, and he's just trying to survive his final year at that magic school while there is this humdrum thing that is basically hunting him. Now, I absolutely love this book, so I'm very happy to reread it, and I hope the wheel will give me this one again very soon. So now it is time for the next wheel spin. And so the first book where we have a repeat is The 120 Days of Sodom, which I'm not very excited about because this book started out very boring. And unfortunately, I have to say that it continued to be very boring for the next 100 pages. I slogged my way through it, so I'm now almost halfway through this book, luckily. We need 3 more spins to land on this one to finish it. And yeah, it's just boring. This is very, very boring. I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna be glad when this one is gone. Okay, so then we have another wheel spin. And this one gave us a new book to start, and that is The 3 Cups of Tea by Greg Mortenson and David Oliver Relin. Now, this was a gift. I got this one a few years ago. I've never heard of this one, so I had like kind of like middle expectations, I guess, because the main idea of this sounds really good. It's about this guy who starts building schools in very remote parts in Pakistan. Now, this book is from 2007, which gives you kind of an indication of the mindset at the time. So the kind of introduction by the journalist who wrote the book, David Oliver Relin, he talks about kind of like the fight against terrorism and that like education is the better way to do it, which in general I agree, but the whole like framing of this with like 9/11 and all of that, yeah, I don't know, it like reads different in 2025. I'm just not that comfortable with that whole thing. However, then I realized, looking into Goodreads a little bit, that there's actually quite a bit of controversy about this man, Greg Mortenson, that he wasn't like the good guy that he makes himself out to be. He probably also isn't a bad guy. He just seems to be like way in over his head. And after reading like the first almost 100 pages of this, you can already tell that he's not like very good at what he's doing. So I saw the Goodreads reviews of this because like the beginning was okay, but I got so bored with this book. I got so extremely bored. So I looked at Goodreads a little bit, and man, the reviews for this books are terrible. So I have no hopes left for this one. If I was a normal person, I would DNF this. Like, I had such a hard time getting through those pages. And also, like, the text is super, super small. So it took me forever to read this far yesterday. And oh God, if I wouldn't do this project, I don't know if I could even make it through this book. It was so boring. And yeah, we'll see. Yeah, but we have one more spin before I let you go. And with that, we got the second repeat, and this one is for the Women's History of the Modern World, which I was quite excited about because I did enjoy reading the beginning of this book. And I am now a third of the way through the second spin, so I'm going to continue with this today. One thing I must say that I haven't said yet before, this is very kind of like anecdotal in the way it is told. Like, you have a lot of anecdotes and they don't always reflect quite the truth. Like, if you start looking more into some of the details and stuff, you realize that it's not always completely true what's said in here. Like, one very random example, and I didn't really look deeply into that. It was just something that fascinated me, but when I Googled it, it turned out to not be quite true. There is this woman, a paleontologist, who realized that the bezoars, which were kind of like stones that were sold for a lot of money and were supposed to have all of these magical powers, that they're basically dinosaur poop. And that's not quite true. So yeah, you can look more into it if you're interested. It was just one of those like fun facts, and when I Googled it, it turned out to be like a little bit different. It's not like completely untrue, it's just not completely true either, if you know what I mean. And I think there's a couple of mentions of this or that are like kind of similar, you know, because you just get these like quick, sweet anecdotes. Because of that, it reads really fun, but you just have to keep in mind that not all of it is like completely true. There was also a mention of a woman who was the first one to go visit one of those like tribes. I don't know if it was in South America, I think it was, where the people were supposed to be cannibals, and it talked about how she survived going there and her making like fun about how she's already older and so people wouldn't want to eat her. And you know, there's like some things in here where I'm a little bit like, what? But overall, the reading experience of this is still really fun. So yeah, I'm happy to continue on with this, and I'll update you very soon on the next few spins. So today is the 10th of November, and with that we have finished the first week of this little experiment. Before I tell you a couple of numbers regarding the first week and whether I'm on track, I quickly want to let you know what happened yesterday. First off, I finished part 2 in The Woman's History by Rosalind Miles. I don't really have anything to add from the stuff I've already said about this book, but right now we're kind of finished with the World Wars, I think, but this isn't like completely chronological, so we'll see where it goes next. But this part was a lot about the fight for the right to vote, as well as the fight for kind of the right to contraception, and then also about the like female effort in the World Wars. So that's where I'm at with that one. Still enjoying it. It reads really, really well. So let's see what the next spin got me. And I wasn't really excited for this, but it gave me 3 cups of tea again. Now, the beginning of this was so boring, so I was really, really worried about this. But I must say that the next 100 pages I read weren't quite as boring anymore. I feel like a lot of things were kind of happening. Now, there is controversy about this book. There are parts about this book that may not be true. I am not like so deep into this that I want to look it up, but from a reading experience, the kind of second 100 pages chunk here wasn't quite as boring, and I was glad about that. So we finished that off as well, and we had time for another spin. And that one got me to start a new book that I hadn't started yet. It's a German book I got as a gift. This one I'm also very worried about because it's so big, and I have a hard time with contemporary German writers, so we'll see about it. It's called Die Unglückseligen by Thea Dorn, and this is a book about a woman, a researcher, who is trying to crack the secret to eternal life. So unsure. I have started it. I'm 20 pages in, so I can't really say much about this one yet. apart from the fact that the writing is very pretentious so far. So we'll just see how it goes with that one. But that's all the progress I made for my first week of this. So let's look at some numbers. First of all, we're currently having 8 books in the wheel, and out of those 8 books, I have now started 6. So we have almost started all of them. We're almost reading all of them at once. I have finished reading for 8 spins. We are currently reading for the 9th one, so that's on track. I felt like I was doing really well, but last week I didn't have anything else going on. There were no distractions, which is not going to be true for the next 3 weeks. So I'm a little bit worried what that might mean for the project, but for now we're on track. We have read 852 pages for the project so far, which is good. I'm very happy about that. And that means we have managed to finish 13% of the overall page goal. So that includes the books that are my December TBR and are not in the wheel yet. So 13% through that. Again, we're just on track with that to finish before the year is over. And I'm a little bit worried what that means for the upcoming weeks. This is where we're at. We're going to continue. My goal for today, hopefully, is to finish reading my page goal in this German book. And then we'll just continue spinning and we'll see where it leads us.
So the Goodreads Choice Awards are here, and I thought we can have a little look at it together. I don't really care about these awards, to be honest. I just always think it's interesting to see whether I've actually read any of the books in the different categories. So let's see if we find something that I have read. Okay, so from the literary fiction, or whatever this one is, I haven't read much. I've only read My Friends, which I did not like, so definitely not voting for that. I do really want to read The Emperor of Gladness. I actually have been on the waitlist on my library for a lot of months. I think since June or May. So yeah, I will read that when it comes around. And then what I would also maybe like to read one day is The Girls Who Grew Big. Now, the content matter is what I have a little bit of an issue with here, but I did really like Leila Motley's other novel. Historical fiction, I probably haven't read anything. I do really want to read The Lilac People. Atmosphere is on my list to read. I had the Amalfi Curse checked out from the library for my Italy trip, but I didn't get around to it. And I don't have a lot of hope for it because, Sarah Penner's books are, just so-so. I think I'm going to vote for The Lilac People because I really, really want to read that one. Okay, mystery and thriller, probably have not read. Oh, I have read Vera Wrong, and I loved it, so I'm going to vote for that. Yeah, but I haven't really read any of the others. I do really want to read King of Ashes because S.A. Cosby is a great writer that I discovered this year. But I'm gonna vote for Vera. Okay, romance again. I don't think I've read any of these. I'm not a romance girly, and I don't really have any feelings about these. So let's move on. Fantasy. Don't think I've read any of these. I think Alchemist might have good chances this year. Oh, I have read Emily Wilde, so I might vote for that. Oh no, Magical Innkeeping. Oh, now that, I'm gonna vote for that. Okay, I didn't even think about that one in this category. I do want to try Wild Reverence because I liked Rebecca Ross's other books. Still need to try Sulin Tam. So yeah, let's vote for Magical Innkeeping. Okay, fantasy. This is the big one, you guys. Let's see. Have I read any of these? Oh no, I don't think I have. Oh, I read Bury Your Bones in the Midnight Soil. I didn't love it, so I'm not gonna vote for it. Oh my god, and that's the only one. That's the only one I've read. That is so sad. Oh my god. Okay, so I do really want to read The Everlasting. That's very high on my list. Drop of Corruption. As always with an unfinished series, I'm still waiting. Same for Raven Scholar. Definitely will read that once the series is out. I do want to read River Has Roots at some point. Catabasis, again, I have this on my library waitlist right now. Probably will read that in the beginning of the next year. Brigands and Bread Knives isn't even out yet, right? I think it's just maybe come out or is about to come out. Yeah, The Devils, I still want to try other Joe Abercrombie first. Hemlock and Silver I haven't read yet, and I feel very bad about it, but I will read it. And then The Incandescent I'm also interested in. Oh my! I have nothing to vote for in the fantasy category. What's this? Okay, let's just move on. Sci-fi, I haven't read any of these. Not a sci-fi girly. I do really want to read Monsters and Mainframes. I have that, I think, on Libby. Death of the Author, I'm not so sure. The Dream Hotel is on Libby, so I have my eye on that. Yeah, let's just move on. Horror, let's see. Horror, I have a better chance, maybe, that I've read something. I don't know. Oh, this is so bad. You know what? The only one I've read is The Lamb so far. And I don't know if I liked it enough to vote for it, to be honest, because I think some here are much better. You Weren't Meant to Be Human just became available through Libby, so I definitely want to read that. Andrew Joseph White is one of those authors that I've been meaning to read for a very long time. Same with Nat Cassidy. Sorry, I'm filming this in the morning. Why am I doing this? Same with Nat Cassidy. What Hunger is on my list to read. Bad Eaters on my list to read. Blood on Her Tongue is on my list to read. Buffalo Hunter Hunter is on my list to read. Bunny is on my list to still read. Witchcraft for Wayward Girls was one of the contenders for my 100th book this year, but then I chose We Used to Live Here, which I now regret, but whatever. So that I still want to read, and I have that through Libby. Play Nice is one that I'm kind of interested in. And then I've read my first Chuck Tingle this year, but not his new book. So definitely want to check that one out at some point. But oh my, I feel so sad right now. Okay, let's see debut novel. Okay, I haven't even heard of most of these. Like, obviously I've heard of Alchemized and the Lilac People. And that's pretty much it. Okay, I think I'm gonna vote for the Lilac People again. Just because. Audiobook, that is such a weird category. I don't know what to do with this one. I think I'm gonna vote for King of Ashes because the audiobook narrator for S.A. Cosby's books is just incredible. Like, oh, I can't even tell you. Such a voice. So I'm gonna vote for that one. Okay, YA. Oh, Oathbound. Oh. Okay, I have read Sunrise on the Reaping. And that's the only one. That is the only one. I think I'm gonna vote for Oathbound. I also really want to read The Floating World because I really enjoyed Axio's other book. But I'm gonna vote for Oathbound just because I love the series so much, and it hurts my feelings that I have not read that one yet. Okay, Under the Same Stars I want to read. I didn't know that was YA, to be honest. I think here I'm gonna vote for Sisters in the Wind. That also just came out, I think, and I hadn't even heard about this one, but I love the previous books by Angeline Booley, so that one it's like super high on my list. Now I think the next categories I have no feelings about, so let's go through them very quickly. Yeah, about these. Memoir. Oh, Malala, right? I heard that she has a new book out. Yeah, no feelings whatsoever about that. I would be interested in reading more about James Baldwin, to be honest. Okay, that's it. So we have finished this. Yeah, well, mostly I'm just disappointed how few 2025 releases I've read this year, because I was in this quest to reduce my TBR to 0. That definitely, made me read way less new releases. So I hope to turn that around next year when the TBR is gone. Let's see whether that works out.
So today is the 14th of November, and with that we are coming very close to the end of this vlog, but I wanted to give you this quick little update because I've done a couple of more things this week. First of all, I started reading Die Unglückseligen by Thea Dorn, and this book is a bit weird. Now, we do follow a biologist who lives in the US, but she's from Germany, and she is trying to uncover the secret to eternal life, to immortality, and she struggles with her research quite a bit. She thinks she has a major breakthrough, at least with the mice, but obviously people aren't really that happy about her wanting to experiment on human embryos. So she's a little bit stuck in that spot when she meets a mysterious man who calls himself Knight, and in German Ritter, and he is very, very strange. They meet under the strangest circumstances in a supermarket, and then it seems that he is hundreds of years old and that she's actually a German physicist who supposedly died in 1810, but apparently still lives, maybe. Or he just has a very vivid imagination. So yeah, interesting so far. I thought I would hate this more. So far, I'm pretty okay with how it's going. This is a book I got gifted, and I just, the German authors and me, always a struggle. However, there is like one instance where the main character is very negative against people who get migraines. She uses a very negative term for that, and as someone with chronic migraines, I don't appreciate that. So the main character, I really don't like her. I don't like her as a scientist. I don't like her as a human being, but we'll see where that goes. So this is what I started first. So let's have another little wheel spin. And the wheel gave me Simon Snow again, so I continued my reread in Carry On, and I'm loving it. The moment Baz appears on the scene, I lose my heart every single time. Baz is great. However, after finishing the portion of this, I had finished my 10th spin, and so I was about 1,000 pages into the project, and I thought I could give myself a little reward for that. And so I went onto Cleo's Discord, and I gave people a little poll to kind of vote for my reward. I want to thank everyone who voted, and they decided that I would be allowed as a reward to read 100 more pages in a book of my choosing. And obviously I choose Carry On because I love it so much. And so I read another 100 pages, so now I'm over halfway into this book. And it's so great. It's so great. I love it. I am now at the winter break where, yeah, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but I love this book so much. Okay, and after finishing that little treat, we do have another wheel spin. And so I started reading The Unwomanly Face of War. This is a book that I wanted to have, and I got it as a gift many years ago. Then I always felt bad about reading it because of what Russia is doing right now, obviously. But this is a book about female soldiers in the Second World War in Russia. And it really sets out to answer the question, like, what is war like for women, and do they have a unique perspective? And obviously they do, because of the way they were brought up and all of that. So this is a great read. The text, however, is tiny, so it is a little bit like more time consuming to read this book, but I am really enjoying it. I think the way that this is structured, with pretty much reading mostly the interview transcripts and then very tiny little commentary from the author herself, is great. I'm having a really good time reading this. It's obviously a very harrowing read because we're reading about the Second World War, about all the atrocities that happened and that were done by people, mostly by German soldiers. And so, yeah, it's definitely not a light read, but I really enjoy the way this goes about telling the stories of these women. Now, for me personally, this is also a very interesting experience because I am German. So the enemies that these women talk about are my ancestors in a way. I lost like one great grandfather in the war. He was, however, shot by his own comrades. So right at the end of the war, when they thought everything was over, one of them just shot everyone. So yeah, this is an interesting experience to know that these women talk about that, like about people that were in my family who also participated in this war on the other side. So yeah, definitely an interesting experience. And as far as like World War II literature goes, this is for me a very unique read, something I haven't read like this before. So I always appreciate that because there is a lot about World War II out there, and I'm always trying to find ones that still give a unique perspective, and I think this one does that beautifully. And with that, we are caught up, so let's do the next wheel spin. And we got Die Unglückseligen again, so I'm going to continue reading this one for the next 100 pages. And this is a long book. I think if I read another 100 pages, I will be about a third of the way through. So let's do it. And then I also wanted to tell you that yesterday I finished reading my audiobook, The Shadow Glass by Chupeco, the third book in the Bone Witch trilogy. The series reading vlog for that will come in the next couple of weeks. I am lagging a little bit behind with all of my like vlog projects because I just finished quite a few of them, and so I have to like space it out a little bit because I don't want to throw like all of the like reading vlogs into your face. But that one is coming. Very quickly though, this book was great. I think at the end, because of the structure of the story with the two timelines, things got a little bit confusing for me personally with the audiobook, but I still gave it 4.5 stars. I think that the series is great. It builds up great characters. If you are hesitating because this is a YA series, I would say screw that. It's so deep, sad, tense, mysterious, so many losses, but then also a little bit of hope at the end. So yeah, I definitely cried during the end, but I was also cutting onions, so who knows whether it was because of the book. So my next audiobook is going to be The Starving Saints by Caitlin Starling. I'm very excited for this one because I loved Yellow Jessamine, and I hope that this book will kind of have similar vibes. I am pretty sure that this one is sapphic as well, and maybe it has cannibal nuns. So we'll see about that, but yeah, that's the next audiobook I'm going to read. So today is the 16th of November, and with that we have reached the end of this vlog, and I do want to give you a very quick update on where I am with my reading for now. Now, with the last wheel spin we got this German book again. This one definitely is a struggle. Like, this was one of the gifts I got, and I never had a good feeling about this book. Now, this one is a lot about immortality, and I gotta be honest, when I read about that, I get so tired. Like, for me, life is hard. I don't want it to go on forever, so I really don't understand the motivation of our main character in this. In the second, 200 pages that I have now read, they go to this conference where they talk about all of these options, how humans could live forever. And I got so tired reading that. So yeah, at this one not going super well, so I'm glad to put that to the side again. And then I took a little bit of a break for this weekend from my project to read one of the last books or pretty much the last book I have for a reading goal that I still want to complete this year, and that would be reading Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston. I have 90 pages and the afterword and introduction left to read today. I'm really enjoying this one. This is definitely one where I didn't really know what this would be about, and I'm really enjoying it. We are following a woman called Janie, and we basically hear her tell her life's story from growing up with her grandma, marrying a man she wasn't really in love with, and then running away, all the complications of her life. And yeah, I can't wait to read the rest of this today and finish this off. There will be a complete reading vlog for this book, so I'm not quite sure if that is still gonna happen this month or in December, but it will come. And last but not least, for my audiobook, The Starving Saints, I am now a third of the way through with that book. And this one is quite interesting. So we have this city that is basically under siege, so they can't get to new food, and we follow three characters in the city, three women. We do have one that is considered a witch, and she tries to solve this problem with alchemy. She has already figured out a way to clean the water, so that is seen as a miracle, and now the king expects her to produce another miracle where she makes food out of nothing, but she doesn't have a very good time with that task. It doesn't seem possible. Then we have a lady knight, and she is there to kind of work with the man who was tasked with taking care of this castle. She wants to get into action, like for her being stuck in the castle and not having any way to fight for her freedom is like really hard on her. And then she gets tasked with watching over the witch character, which for her is like super, super terrible. She really doesn't want to do that. She thinks it's absolutely pointless. So she's not having a very good time. And last but not least, we have a character who once belonged to a noble family until her father was accused of treason and executed. And so now she has hidden herself away and she wants to take revenge for that. And the revenge she wants to take is from the Lady Knight because she was the one to execute her father. So there seems to be quite a lot of tension between these characters. I'm intrigued to see whether some of that will turn romantic at some point with the Lady Knight and the former noblewoman. They seem to have had a bit of a crush, or at least the noblewoman had one on the Lady Knight, and that's why she feels extra betrayed that the Lady Knight then executed her father. So it's a little bit of a crush to enemies situation we have there. And things really get started when suddenly in this castle there appear some saints and they bring food, but nobody knows where they're bringing it from. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm really enjoying it. I really like the vibe. I think Caitlin Starling's writing works really well for me. I already really enjoyed Yellow Jasmine, and that book was not like super well received, but it worked really well for me. And I feel like this one has a very similar vibe, so I'm really enjoying it. So that's where I'm at with my reading for the first half of November. I will put up a vlog for the second half as well, continuing with all of these projects. And then I wanted to mention one thing quickly at the end here, and that is that my friend Cleo from the channel Bemused Bookworm just put out her announcement video for her Gamenightathon lottery readathon for December. I'm very excited for it, and I will link it down below so you can go and check it out. It's a really fun readathon where you can even win a book if you're very lucky. I don't expect I will be, but nonetheless, I'm very excited. So I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Definitely let me know, what do you think about the whole project with like reading every book all at once? Is it like too chaotic for you, or are you secretly here for it? I would love to hear about that. And I think actually I'm gonna let you off with a little wheel spin cliffhanger. So let's see what we're gonna read next, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye!